Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from Southern California, along with the United Kingdom. This is indeed a great pleasure for me to talk and to share with all of you this morning and this afternoon from California about the music and Kirtan in Khalsa spirituality. We all aware that all Eastern religion, they are highly influenced by the music and musician. For instance, like the oldest tradition, monotheistic religion, Judaism, Moses was a poet, and he has composed not only the law when he taught to the children of Israel, but also he mentioned the first ever music and musician in the book of Genesis as well. Beside that, King David, as a poet and a prophet, he also not only gave a greatest gift of the book of Psalm, which the Sefer Tehillim, a Hebrew word, which means a lyrical poetry accompanied with string instrument. And this poetry and this divine revelation is a part of not only Judaism, but also Christianity adopted this heritage, and they're still practicing along with in each and every tradition. And even in Pakistani context, Pakistani church also sing this Punjabi Psalter in their own native language. Not only that one, but also in Hinduism, Mahabharata portray Krishna as a symbol of love and beauty, which they call Prem and Rupa, along with his musical engagement, playing flute with gopis. So not only that one, the goddess Saraswati ranked also highly ranked in the Hindu mythology, and also she is the part of the wisdom and the knowledge, and she is the mother of the knowledge in the Hindu mythology. Along with that, when we go to Islam, the recitation of the Quran, the Qiraat, is also the Qiraat. The word Quran itself means recitation. It's not a manuscript. So it is also a voice-centric art in our own context. And Islam also produced a great heritage of Sufism. And since the 13th century, Amir Khusro, in the pre-Mughal era, when they arrived in Indian subcontinent, he brought the Persian poetry and the Sufism along with that. And that's a tradition which we have also in Sindh and Punjab, and also the other part of the Indo-Pak subcontinent. And Qawwali is one of the greatest gift to the world, which has been given by the Sufis. But sadly, or might be that is a kind of a dilemma, that another great heritage which mostly Western world is unaware is our Khalsa Kirtan music. And this is a great gift of gurus to the world. And today we are going to learn more about this Khalsa and Kirtan spirituality and music through our brothers and sisters, those who have joined us. So I would like to introduce my friends and those who have joined us from England and also from Southern California. So first I will ask my distinguished guest that would you please introduce yourself and what role you are working or playing in the service and the promotion of the Khalsa Kirtan music. So first of all, we'll go directly to our guest from England. So Professor Ji, would you please introduce yourself, and then Kaur Ji, and then Sarbajit Singh, and then Ikjit Ji.
Thank you, Dr. Eric, for having us on this platform and opportunity to share and grow. Listening to you, sharing a few things we understand from our end. It is my pleasure to join this congregation. I'm Surinder Singh, was born, brought up in India, but now it's been around 30 years I've been here. My main focus is musicology, how the music impacts the human psyche, which was gifted to us by the gurus, what was their philosophy and perception. So I worked as a professor in the University of West London here in UK. My main area of expertise, as I said, is musicology, not just Indian, the musicology when it comes to sound and the human psyche. Now, since 2012, I'm more focused and dedicated to one of our charity, Raj Academy, to preserve and archive this. I'm a director of research and educational procedures there in the Conservatoire, Raj Academy. So based in London, and we are trying to work globally. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you very much. And this is a fascinating work to know that more, not only the musicology and performance side, but also the academic side, to having the philosophy and the idea, the concepts of the Khalsa music. Thank you very much. So Jasveer Kaurji, would you please introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you for inviting us onto this amazing platform to have this conversation. I'm grateful for that opportunity, and it's a pleasure to be here alongside my mentor and teacher, Professor Surinder Singh Ji. My background in Sikh music is that I have been in this field for almost 2 decades now, and I studied under the tutelage of Professor Surinder Singh at the University of West London in England, where I completed my bachelor's in Sikh music, and I also completed my master's actually in Nad Yoga, which is Sikh music therapy. And that is one of my more, passionate areas of research and discipline and practice as well. I've had the opportunity and great good fortune of traveling around the world with Professor Surinder Singh to perform on world stages, to share this music and the authentic practice of Sikh music pre-colonization. And I think I'm fortunate to say I'm one of 2 of the only qualified Sikh music therapists in the world. So it's a great privilege to be able to say that. And currently my role is serving as the CEO of Raj Academy, where we share through online courses and trainings access to be able to learn these beautiful, magical, majestic instruments.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. This is again an honor and a privilege for also for our audience and for me to know actually there is an academy available and then online classes are available, and you are helping Professor Surinder Singh Ji along with that. So it's fascinating, and I'm looking forward more to learn about this all. Brother Sarbajit Singh Ji, would you please introduce yourself?
Ji, this is Sarbajit Singh. First of all, thank you, Eric Sarwarji. You're a great man. God truly has chosen you to bring everybody together. Ever since I have met you, you always inspired me. And you yourself is done PhD in music. And it has been a great pleasure knowing you and your fellow peers that we met in your church. Thank you very much for organizing this. I came to United States in 1979, and coming here knowing that, our community, our children here were deprived of our culture, heritage, and religion. So I decided to start teaching Kirtan classes in Gurdwara in Hollywood in 1980. And ever since I've been trying to teach them harmonium and tabla all these years, because whole Sikh religion and philosophy and teaching is based on the kirtan, kirti, singing it in rags. And Guru Nanak has said that Jog Banaya Tera Kirtan Gai. I have connected with you through singing your hymns. But I never realized that until about 10 years ago, when I met Professor Surinder Singh Ji that, this the harmonium is not six saz. It is, was brought by, Austrian people and British people brought this, and the instruments that our gurus used and designed, uh, uh, you know, 500 years ago were taken away from our hands. So thank God and thanks to him that, he has reintroduced and channel us to these instruments. So ever since that, I'm trying to learn this instrument, and at the same time, I'm promoting this instrument and helping others learn as well. So I live in Los Angeles, California, and this is my main objective beside my profession in finances. This is what my passion is, to play and sing praises of God with these instruments and help other people learn this instrument so we can preserve our heritage.
Well, thank you very much for your gift. You are managing money and music all together. Well, thank you. It's incredible. Well, we have another distinguished guest, and I will request Ikjot, would you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. Hello, my name is Ikjot Singh, and I'm from Los Angeles, California. And I just want to say I'm very humbled to be a part of what we are doing today. It's very amazing and inspiring to see what everyone is coming together and to teach and share everyone's passion, especially coming together from music. And basically, I started learning Dilruba from Professor Surinder Singh through Raj Academy about 10 years ago. And since the first time I heard the Dilruba, Sarangi, and these instruments, it's really something that struck my heart. And learning Dilruba and these string instruments is something that really, really changed my life for the better, I would say. And I've never looked back ever since. And now I have the honor of completing the course and graduating, and now teaching and sharing whatever I have learned. And further, I really want to focus on inspiring the youth, and because not many people know about these instruments, especially first generation immigrants coming to America, and we've lost that Sikh musical heritage. So really instilling those principles and beliefs and our musicology into them, and then just trying to inspire and share whatever we have here together. So thank you for inviting me and helping.
Well, thank you very much. And I would like to inform all of you that Ikjot is a brother Surinder Singh, Sarbajit Singh's son, in biological, but also spiritually, he's the son of the Professor Surinder Singh also, and also the family of the same school. And so brother Sarbajit Singh's whole family, they are musicians. So the passion which I find connected very easily is that we are all Punjabis. We are all from the same continent, and we are all living as an immigrant communities, and we are all have a passion to bring our own culture, our own voices, our own sound to this foreign land as a foreigners. And this is a connection, and this is the purpose of this program, actually, to share our heritage with the larger community. So first of all, let's go and dig in and learn more about what is Kirtan and what is Sikh music, and what's role it can play in the spirituality of the Sikh tradition. But first of all, let me take you what is our connection, being a minister in a Christian Reformed tradition. When 500 years ago, at the time of when the Reformation was started in the Western Europe, in Germany, Martin Luther was on the hype of the Reformation. The same time in the Indian subcontinent, Guru Nanak was born in a village where my forefathers came in near Shekhupura, near Nankana Sahib, Lahore, and that's the time when he realized that God has granted and God has chosen him for a special purpose. And what is that purpose, and how, when we, after 500 years, when we are looking back that heritage, what we can learn. But moreover, when we are going to dig in the music, and especially the string instrument, the book of Psalm was the forefront of the Reformation. And book of Psalm, it's a Hebrew name of the book of Psalm is Sefer Tehaleem. It means a lyrical poetry accompanied with stringed instrument. That's the original Hebrew name of the book of Zabur, which we call Zabur or Mazamir or Psalms in English language. So that's the connection which we have found. And I personally observe when missionaries came to Indian subcontinent in the late 19th century, 1850s and 1851, when they have a masses and the Punjabi background, because that's an interesting thing, one another history, because that's important to know to connect ourselves right now. The mission center which they established in the North India, the first Presbyterian mission center was Amritsar and Sialkot. And these two were the main hub of the Sikh practice and the Sikh tradition. So I personally, so far I agree that the model which they saw at the Indian subcontinent for the Punjabi Christians, which were newly conversion at that time, was a Kirtan tradition, which they observe and they translate and they compose lyrical poetry in a way that connects the local people with the Punjabi Kirtan singing. So let's go and listen and learn from our guest. So Professor Surinder Singh ji, would you please inform us and guide us and teach us something, tell us about what is Khalsa, what is Sikhism, what it represents?
Khalsa is a Persian word, actually, khalis, and pure, where there's no duality. And when we go into Christianity, we go into Buddhism, we go into Islam, who doesn't want to be pure? Everybody is just a word, a destination set that, hey, we want to be one with the one. And Sikhism is very colonial. It started in 1850, and not with Guru Nanak. Guru Nanak started a trend which was a Sikh, and there was no Islam. And 239 years, you will see Muslims and Hindus alongside the Gurus, and there's no collision. There's no conversion. There's no that you are wrong or you're right. To understand these Sikhs, we have to talk pre-colonial sector where this small community was doing wonders. And there was a triangle. 550 years ago, the triangle was running the powerhouse of India. Like the Hindus pushed Buddhists out long ago. Then Mughals came. So the Islam and Sanatan was the two major hubs in India, controlling everything. And there was another intellectual, political intellect community, yogis and Sufis behind it. They had a third power, but although they came in from Hindu traditions known as yogis and sadhus, or they came from Islamic traditions called Sufis, but they held the high courts in Ranjit Singh's kingdom, or in any Mughal. When we see like Wazir Khan as Subedar, in collision with Guru Gobind Singh Ji, one of his ministers is a Hindu, and we see these sort of like these people trying to keep the balance. But when we are looking into Sikhs, they are basically seeking that how do I break these boxes which restrict me through the culture, which put me through the procedures? What is the natural law? What is the natural way I can be one with my creator? What is that technique where I don't have to leave my children and go to Himalayas, renounce everything? And, what is that prayer where I don't have to fall into procedures? Can I still go to church and learn to become one, how to be one with the one? And when Guru Nanak introduced that freedom outside of the religious box, there's a new trend started. The Seekers, the Sikhs, they were Muslims and they were Hindus. Baba Mardana is the name. Whenever you will talk about Guru Nanak, you cannot talk him just a single name. You'll say Even Sikh historians, Sikh writers, they will write Ik Baba Akal Roop, that there's one Guru Nanak, and the second, his shadow is Baba Mardana. And Mardana was from Muslim faith, a strong practitioner, even to the extent that Baba Guru Nanak took him on his journey of a Hajj. He traveled with him to Mecca. The Guru Nanak was a believer of those who believed in, who had a faith. And he helped them to understand that there is a man-made and there is God-made, and understand what God-made is and have that approach. The program he introduced was a sound, a conversation within. What is the conversation, what the celestial, the music created by the creator within you, can you listen to that? And introducing humanity to that empowered them out of slavery, out of poverty, out of sickness. And this is where the Sikh tradition started. But sadly, then, when it came into the hands of interpretations of the West, when Punjab was captured after 100 years long struggle by the British company, it was like they captured the entire India 100 years prior to that. But 1849, the Punjab, Sialkot, Nankana, and to Amritsar, to up to the Satluj, this whole sector reaching to Afghanistan lost to British Empire. And within a year, their scholars landed, like Ernest Trump came into to Punjab to translate and tell them what is these people believe in and what is the way in to, because they didn't believe that these people can be controlled by the sword. They had to go into the psyche. So that's where a new word emerged, Sikhism. I am a more in a conversation from the angle is a pre-1849. So for me, it's exactly what you talk in church, or a Maulvi talks in the masjid, when it is not misinterpreted, when it's not shackled by traditions and rituals and languages, when humans treat humans and share with each other the skills and the findings. For me, that is a seeking subject. That's a Sikhi.
Well, thank you very much. So such a profound statement and understanding that what I am hearing is like the Guru Nanak, when he started, it was based on a human fraternity, and it was a part of the seeking spirituality beyond the clutches of the kind of people, those who are using and they are misusing the power. So Kaurji, what do you think when somebody asks you what is Khalsa, what is Sikh, so how can you explain to them?
I agree with a lot of the definition that Professor Surinder Singh ji just gave, and I connect in a similar way. Before my research and academic study into this subject area, I would have conformed to the Sikhism because I didn't know any different. But I think this is why academia and educational discourse is imperative, to help us to understand and expand our existing thought patterns and the ideologies that we form. I feel that I connect more with the practices and the values that were given by the gurus that predate colonization. What we have now is more an institutionalized religion, which I don't, personally, my opinion is that that wasn't the intention of what the gurus were creating. They were creating inclusion and togetherness, as Professor Surinder Singh ji just shared, that that brotherhood that was shared between Guru Nanak and Bhai Mardana was something so incredible that it was revolutionary in itself. If it was about conversion and changing pathways, or saying that one value system or belief system supersedes another, that would have been evident in their journeys or in the gurus that preceded. And throughout the lives of the 10 gurus, they constantly upheld that same system of live and let live. allowing others to practice their faith and encouraging, in fact, supporting and protecting them in their right to practice their faith freely without oppression, without being restricted, or without being forced to conform to a different pathway that doesn't resonate with them. And that for me is the essence of what Sikhi is about. To uphold the rights of everybody to live and practice freely according to your own belief system. And Khalas means exactly that, pure. We all have that essence of divinity that lives within us, and that is what makes us Khalas. So essentially, we all belong to Khalsa. We belong to that same purity of the divine. It's how we evoke it and encourage it within each other through community, and allow each other to excel in that space of divinity and goodness through our human actions. So for me, that's how I connect.
Well, thank you very much. So brothers, Sarbajit Singh ji, living in USA, sometimes we have read news and there was some misunderstanding about the Sikh and the Muslim brothers, and they've been attacked also because of this fundamentalism and this extremism on the name of the religion. So as you are part of the community here and living in USA, and you are also a part of the Khalsa Care Foundation, so how you explain Sikh or the Khalsa in the USA context?
I came here in 1979 and 1981. Ayatollah Khomeini, one of the mullahs of or religious leader of Iran, held American hostages in Iran. And so when his picture was being depicted on television, and he wore black turban. And so whenever we were going out on streets and people were calling us Ayatollah Khomeini, he says, go back, we don't need your gas here, you don't belong here, you're terrorist, this and that. So we had to face that challenge. And then after 9/11 attack on World Trade Center buildings in New York, and other places in America, so they showed a picture of Osama bin Laden, and he wears turban and he has beard and he dressed like in kurta pajama, just like anybody else, just like us. And I said, oh gosh, Sikhs are in trouble again. And so that's what happened. A friend of mine's brother who owned a gas station in Arizona, city of Mesa, he was shot very next day by a person who claimed himself to be an American patriot, claiming, oh, you are Taliban, you attacked our nation, you got to face consequences. So he shot him. The Balbir Singh Sodhi, he was killed very next day. And since then, even till now, there have been many, many Sikhs who have been victim of mistaken identity in US and perhaps in other places also. So whenever that situation comes, it happens because of ignorant. People just don't know who Sikhs are. Anytime they see somebody with a turban, they see, oh, it's a Muslim or it's a Taliban, it's a terrorist. So it's just a way of educating them with love and with careness. The definition of Khalsa is given in our scripture in Guru Granth Sahib. Kaho Kabir Jan Paye Khalse Prem Pagat Jai Jani. Kabir says, one of the Pagat Kabir says, Jan Paye Khalse, those humble people become pure. Who are those humble people? Prem Pagat Jai Jani. They become Khalsa, who know the Lord's loving devotional worship. And through that devotional worship, we see God in all. We see the reflection of God in all. God is omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent. So he's everywhere. So with love and devotional, we educate them that, we don't tell them, oh no, I'm not Muslim. That this is like saying, oh, we are Sikhs, we're not Muslim, so it's okay to go and kill the Muslim. No, it is not kill. Thou shalt not kill. It's not okay to kill or harm anybody. It's just a way of explaining these people with love and devotional as being Khalsa, that, We're all in this together. We're American citizens. We're as much in pain as you are, though we look different. Then we educate them about Sikhism, what Sikhism is. A Sikh means a student, a disciple, a learner who's constantly involved in learning values of life. And we tell them, we believe in one God. So your God, my God, his God, her God, no fight over it. We all came from same source. We all children of God. So let's not fight over it. Let's live together and let's fight the injustice which is being done in this world together. This
Well,
is
thank you very much. Thank you very much. So those who are listening and those who are going to listen and watch this video, first of all, you need to understand that that the Indian subcontinent is not a monolithic. So you have to understand that it is a part of a world which produces the majority of the world's religious tradition. And Sikh or the Khalsa is one of the tradition of the faith tradition which has emerged from that context along with the Islam as well. So yes, our Muslim brother and sisters, they live over there, but can you believe that the world's fifth mostly followed faith is Sikh? It's Khalsa. More than 500 million people, if I'm not wrong by the number, might be, my friends can correct me. And majority are living in, although in the northwest part of the Indian Punjab, but also in USA and England and Australia and Canada. So you need to understand that they are from the same continent, but they are not our Muslim and brother. They are different from them and a different ideology, different philosophy. So Ikjot, so you as a youngster representative in the USA of from the Sikh tradition, how can you explain to your friends what is Sikh?
Yeah, so being youth here in America and identifying as a Sikh, um, I guess it has this societal um, obstacles and psychological. So I guess going to like what is Sikh and being a Sikh and Khalsa to me here is I feel like Khalsa really honed and created an identity for us. And this had a profound impact on the psyche, meaning that we wear like a turban, we don't cut our hair, we have long beards, and this is very different from what societal standards are in America. And it's basically saying like, this is who I am and this is what we are. Being whatever we believe in is for like the natural causes, but not conforming to those societal standards that people have created. And this is what I feel like has given me bravery, courage, or thick skin, because I'm not conforming to these pressures or things that we have created. And it is very difficult, as my father stated, racial attacks, and I guess people are scared, but we have to use fear as a form to educate people. Some might be ignorance, but some might be that they're uneducated, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that is one of our efforts, is to share about our culture, about our religion, about our spirituality. And I feel like the main reason that we can do that is through music. And this is why we have all gathered here today, right? Even though we speak different languages or we come from different backgrounds, but music is the one thing that really brings us all together. And we can just vibe with each other and share that energy with one another.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. This is such a fascinating understanding about the Khalsa and the Sikh tradition. So what so far I have seen from my own personal experience and from the documents which I have already reviewed, that Sikh and that they were a countercultural movement. Actually, that was entirely countercultural. The serving people, I see. I have read the news that at the Golden Temple, which got Haridwara. What's the proper name?
Harmandir Sahib.
Harmandir Sahib. Every day, more than a million, I think, visitors, they visit and they have been fed by a wonderful food. Wherever you go, you will be felt a warm hospitality at the Gurudwaras. That's what the service, and also the role of the music, which we are going to talk now. So what I am hearing to my audience, what I'm speaking now, it is number one, it was a countercultural movement. It was an interfaith collaboration with the Bhai Mardana and the Guru Nanak, and it was more on a human fraternity, which was part of to serving and to seeking and also spreading the friendship and the love and the peace around the world, and the major role played by an art, and that was the music. So I would ask now Professor Ji, what is the history and the heritage of Sikh Kirtan music culture in Indian subcontinent?
See, the music played a huge role before Mughal coming into taking India. It was a very defined procedure from when you look into Vedantic system of India. The music was played in temples, was a very sacred thing. Even still in South, majority of the practice of music is exactly same. But with the Mughals, it's bringing a different page of entertainment too, which they were not very familiar with. So Gharana system took form. It was localized. It was very much personalized. People were the hardcore emperor said, "Oh, in Shariat, you cannot play music; it's not allowed." So the musician went into hiding, and then again, because of that, people kept it amongst their families. With Guru Nanak, he said, "Look, be free. One day you're gonna die anyway. If king want to slaughter, so be it. So, but you got to live." And here you've seen how music is getting associated with the Muslims. They have their own instruments, and Hindus got their own instrument. They have their own colors, and they're fighting over it. And there was a lot of tension between Hindus and Muslims even at that time. Who was suffering? Humanity was suffering. Love was suffering. The real religion of these beings, living being, was suffering. And Nanakji says, "Let me introduce you something different." And he introduced this instrument, just replaced, called rabab. The rabab in Persia and rabab in India, Drupad, you are from, your background is from Gandharvas. So Veena and rabab is very well known. And Baba Mardana used to play this rabab called Drupadi rabab. When Nanakji was 8 or 9, Mardanaji was like 10 years older than him, approximate. And he brought this rabab, used to play a phenomenal rabab. And when Baba Guru Nanak left the Talwandi and he went to Sultanpur, then Baba Mardana didn't go with him at that exact time. He joined him a couple of months later. And in 1500, Guru Nanak, what he did, he engineered this different piece, different rabab, which was not 6-string, were not that original size. Afghan rabab is different, Kashmiri rabab is different, Hindu Persian rabab is different, and Nanak introduced this new instrument, which was 5-string, smaller. Mardana used to put it on his shoulder, and they went from Sri Lanka to Saudi Arabia. They traveled for 28 years, and wow, this tradition started. Ibn Battuta was they said, most traveled person for 32 years. And Nanak was the second, Guru Nanak, the 28 years and 7 months on foot in those days. I mean, that's a lot of time. We're not counting mileage here. But so Nanakji, when he's going to Iraq, when he's going to Saudi Arabia, when he's going to hardcore places of believers, going amongst yogis, going amongst the sadhus and the Hindu Sanatani system. When I read him, Dr. Eric, I want to share with you, I'm not Sikh who inherited Sikhi. I didn't, my parents, grandparents were Sikhs, but I didn't become Sikh. I chose to become Sikh. I was given option to become anything.
Hmm.
I became Sikh by choice. And the reason was that Nanak freed me, gave me choice. He said, your life, your choice, your consciousness, are you ready to choose what is going to be your way? And the way he interpreted music, he introduced music from a different angle. The angle was like, okay, you sing this song. You are Punjabi, I'm Punjabi. One thing we both will understand is a rag called Pairavi. And there's a character called Heer, I was last night thinking about you, and I was thinking that I would like to share this from this side of Punjab, that there was a Bengali boy who came to learn. And from Himalayas, he came back, he went through Punjab, and he heard this farmer on Suhaga, he's like working in his field, and he's singing this couplet of a Heer. It's a love story. And he stopped, this Bengali who became Ustad, and he stopped. He said, this is phenomenal. My teacher didn't teach me this. Can you teach me this? I mean, I'm supposed to be this country's biggest musician in future, so I don't know this, and this is like very different. Can you teach me? And this farmer said, well, are you Punjabi? He said, no. He said, you don't take a birth. It's in a DNA. The Nanak used that DNA. He used that conversation. When I listen to Guru Nanak Ji, he's talking about emotions. He's talking about feelings. He's talking about moods. And he's saying, be aware so that you can disconnect from corruption. And program he introduced was called Kirtan. That's a new word. It was some Kirtan in Vedantic system. It was Naat, and in Sufis using different thing, and Islamic Brotherhood was using different things. Majority Azan, Qawwali came later on, and after partition it's getting popular, yes. But the emperors, Mughal emperors, they did not allow it to flourish. And so Guru Nanak Ji's this new introduction to his philosophy combined with music, how he is talking to people in Iraq where he's not speaking their language, how he's talking in the South, just through the sound and connecting to those people, he's advocating human feelings and emotions. And that trend, that musicology, that program got so popular that you just stated that in the world, this is a fifth followed path. I avoid using the word religion because I don't think it fits into the parameters of religions. These seekers of life, they are larger in number. They practice and they believe into humanity and they support their brotherhood. But in their body of their belief, if the Sikh is a body, then sound is the breath.
Well, thank you.
Plays is such a huge role.
Well, thank you very much. So I was just reading an interview of Abda Parveen. She is one of the very famous Sufi singer in Pakistan. And Abda Parveen's interview just published by BBC, and they told that she said that that Sufi sound is a pain of Allah, and that's what she said. That's a pain. It's a passion. That's a Sufi sound. So while talking about the musicology, I was reading the Guru Granth Sahib, which sent to me by brother Sarbajit Singh in a PDF format. And I was just reading about there, and I'm just going to quote, and then I'll ask question to Kaurji. Kaurji, that you need to respond to that question. So the quotation: each raga has 5 wives and 8 sons. Who emit distinctive notes. In the first place, it's Rag Bhairav, then sing the 6 ragas and the 30 Ragnis and all the 48 sons of the ragas, page 132 and 1433. That is 1433. And the Ragmala presents the Ragmala, which is mentioned in the Guru Granth Sahib, is number 1, the top Bhairav, Malkos, Handol, Deepak, Sri Rag, and Megh. So it means that the Indic musicology, which was was adopted by Guru Nanak was already existing in the system, in the Indic mind, in the Indic society. So what is the difference between the Shastriya music and the Kirtan music? Might be anybody can respond to that, but I know Professor Saab is a master, but Kaurji, can you respond to that question? And anybody can pitch in that answer.
Yes, I can answer that question. I think the question, the quote that you gave from the Ragmala, I'd like to pass that at the end of my contribution now back to Professor Surinder Singh, because that's a topic that has many different opinions around it. And I'm still doing my research on that particular section of the Guru Granth Sahib to form my own opinions about it. But in terms of comparing Shastri Sangeet to Gurmat Sangeet and identifying the differences, I think one of the clear differences is intention. And that is the purpose behind the music. There was a Western musician who said that sound without purpose is just noise. So in order to make music, you need purpose in the sound. And most music has some form of intention, whether it's to entertain or to seek fame or popularity. There is some thought that goes into that process. But when we're talking about spiritual music, there has to be a deeper grounding to that. And what I feel is one of the key differences is an element of performance, which is more advocated and encouraged in Shastriya Sangeet, where it's for showmanship, and you can sit on a stage and declare your artistry and your capacity as a musician and share your musicianship on public stages for performances, and that inspires people in different ways. The purpose of Kirtan is very different to the purpose of music, which means the intention is to connect your soul on a deeper level, to connect with the divine, and music becomes the pathway to make that connection. I believe it was Hazrat Inayat Khan who quoted in one of his books that music would be the religion of the future. And it is that one thing that unifies us. We see, or we call it, and often refer to it as a universal language. That being the portal that has been used in Gurmat Sangeet as the pathway to connect with the divine through those rags, through the guidance and the wisdom of the Shabad. That is the difference in intention. When I've studied Sikh music, Gurmat Sangeet, the purpose is healing. It's to look at yourself and make an individual connection, go on a journey of inner exploration, knowing where that rag has sat in your own life experience and how you use it in your favor to communicate that experience through music and through that divine experience. So Sikh music and Gurmat Sangeet is intended to make that deeper connection with your own soul, to connect with God and the divine. Whereas I feel that Shastriya Sangeet is more, I'm not saying it doesn't help people to achieve that. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I think in how it is promoted and encouraged that I've had access to, it's more about the showmanship and the musicianship of what this unique type of music has to offer.
Well, thank you very much. And because we are talking about rags and their timing and the musicology and the rag malas in the Guru Granth Sahib, so Ikjot, what is your favorite raga or rag in the? I know it's all our favorite. It's a hard question to ask to a kirtan player that which one is your favorite. But if you have an opportunity to share with someone who is totally unaware about the rags in the Gurmat, which rag will you pick and share? And can you play this for a while for something for us today for our audience to understand to listen the sound of that rag?
Yes, it is very difficult to pick just one rag, because I mean they all have their own emotional signatures and they all play a different role. But it mainly depends on how I'm feeling that day, um, and then whatever I would need, to maybe I need something to put me in a good mood or something to like calm me down or simmer down. So it really just depends, and I know there's seasonal dogs that we have like Basant time, springtime, and in like the winter time. But I feel like I don't really get like caught up in these timing things. So whatever what I'm feeling at that certain time or that moment, I just pick up the dilruba and I guess it just express myself and it just comes out. But if I had to like share one rag, I feel like one, even in like Western music, whether it be like hip hop, jazz, guitar, violin, um, a common occurrence that I've seen is rag tanasiri.
Hmm.
And then that rag is pretty common with the notes and it's fairly simple. And so I would say tanasiri would probably be my go-to rag just to like share. And emotional like grammar behind tenacity would be just like everything's gonna be all right, meaning that like you put in your 110% mentally, spiritually, and physically, and then the rest is up to God. And then that's basically what I feel like tenacity does for me, and how like just yeah, believe in yourself and everything will be all right.
Can you play something from the Nasri? I think it's from the Deepak family.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Yeah, most definitely. Let
Okay,
me
sure.
share a little.
Yeah, and can you explain which instrument you are going to play? Because I think that majority of the instruments, like the Punjabi Zabur or the Book of Psalm in the Hebrew and Christian tradition, majority has been asked to sing with the string instrument, because string give a full shrutis and the shirtis and the each and every mean of the sound, which I think the key instrument cannot give us. So I think that's the that give us a core of the wholeness of the note, which actually provide by the string instrument. Can you explain which instrument you're going to play?
Yeah, most definitely. So this is the instrument the luba, and I think it's one of the easiest instruments in the world to learn. And this was made by our 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, and Dilruba means heart stealer. Um,
Oh, see,
so
so this is so Dilruba, it's take your heart away. Wow.
exactly. And this is derived from the instrument Taos, and that one is much bigger. It's a Taos in Persian means peacock, and so back in the day when they would go into battle and everything was on horseback, and you have to carry your food, your clothes, and different types of things, and then it was a little difficult back then to carry this big instrument Taos. It's not like today where we have cars and we could just put it in the trunk. So then the six asked Guru Gobind Singh if we could scale it down, and he was all like, okay. And he created this instrument. Um,
Wonderful.
this is what I will be playing Tanasiri on today.
Wonderful. So looking forward, please. ਵਾਹ ਜੀ ਵਾਹ ਹੁਣ ਮੇਰੇ ਮੂੰਹ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਨਿਕਲ ਆਈ ਹੈ ਵੇਖ ਲਓ ਇੱਥੇ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਬੰਦ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਹੈ well thank you very much such a beautiful so Jyot, so you were playing some kirtan or it was just a bandish or the composition of a classical training.
All right, so in the beginning, I played a little lap of tenacity and basically just kind of setting the mood and introducing the notes that are going to be played. And then afterwards I played a shan. And this is something that you play in the beginning of when you would start the kirtan.
Okay.
It's just it's kind of like an ode of all the instruments bowing down and creating that environment to start the kirtan.
Wonderful.
Usually
Wonderful.
the percussions would take like charge of that, and then the jodi would play or mridang or whatever instruments will be leading it. But yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. So, Sarbajit Singh ji, how it feels like while you are also a teacher and you also teach Kirtan in the local Gurudwara. And can you explain this Guru Shiksha tradition, how this passed through to the next generation? I know we are all belong to the same culture and the oral tradition where we have a certain pedagogical systems to convey and to communicate to the next generation. So how is that working in your own family? And what's the role of the Raj Academy to go to the next level through Professor Saab?
As I mentioned, Sikh means a student. Jehda sikhda hi rehda hai. Te kadi claim nahi karda ki I know everything. We're always involved in learning. Learning hi hegi hai sare vich, shiksha hi hai. So of course, if there is a student, there has to be a teacher. There has to be a guru. ਤੇ ਬਾਕੀ spiritual language ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਨੂੰ ਗੁਰੂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ, the divine word of God is our guru, and our conscious is the student who adopts the message of the word of the divine. But in real world, that as you know, we are living in this world, very materialistic world, very fast paced life. So, and the children are so much bombarded with the information of their schools and the TV and the email and the social media, and their mind is even our mind is so much polluted with information. And then that's where the word of God comes in. But if just reading Gurbani or reading scripture does not bring the enhancement to the enjoyment of the soul, though that's where it's written in the poetry, but when the music is involved in there, then everybody just gets into it. And if they were just giving the reading of the scriptures in the Gurdwara, the session will go along just maybe for 1 hour. But when there's a kirtan going on, people can sit all night doing kirtan, 6, 7, 8 hours. They continue to listen to the music and sing along with you, as you guys do in your church as well. Similar practice that we adopted. So when Guru Nanak went, he says, "Kar kar andar dharamsal hove kirtan sada vasova." Wherever Guru Nanak went, he created a dharamsala. He says, you don't have to depend on anybody. Pick up your own instrument and sing and connect with God through the music. And like Guru Das Ji says, Kar kar baba gaviye vajjan tal mirdang rababa. In those days, mirdangs and rababs were used. And so nowadays, living in United States, I've been teaching music since 1980. I have nothing else to do. I learned a few shabads when I came here. So whatever I knew, I was teaching to the young children. And I was not only teaching, I realized I'm learning myself. The best way to teach is to learn is to share it with somebody, teach it to somebody. And I've been doing it for many, many years, and non-professionally. Because this is not my profession, I have other business, but I do it on voluntary basis, free. I don't charge anybody, but because this is not my full-time profession. Then finally, with God's blessings, I was introduced to Raj Academy, and that totally changed my perception of musicology. I didn't know anything about musicology. I will listen to the song, I'll play it in the harmonium, and I'll teach it on harmonium to other people. And that worked, no doubt. But the depth of the music, the depth of the kirtan, and the moods and the emotional signatures and the shrutiyas and all that, we have no idea, how much treasure it is there, which is a hidden treasure, and it's being, you know, dumped more and more deep into it, and people are being deprived of our rich, heritage that our gurus have brought it to this world, and we have lost it. So that's why I feel very blessed and fortunate to share what I, at the same time I'm learning, and at the same time, I'm teaching it. So those who are, very beginners, they want to learn it. Yeah, I teach them, but those are very serious. And I tell them, if you're really, really serious about learning it, then join the Raj Academy. They have a very nice online, course, and the teachers are there. They do your assessment and everything. So those who can join the Raj Academy, great. They excel more advanced, but the basic things that, whatever I know, I share with my students, all of that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And that Raj Academy we were just talking about, it was established by Professor Ji. He was sitting here, and the one of the faculty member, the Kaurji, is also there. And those who are listening, if you would like to learn more about it, go search about Raj Academy in UK, and you will find fascinating courses. And the major thing is, which I read a Jewish quote, it said, study leads to practice. Actually, until your concept is not clear, your theory is not clear, you cannot go along with the practice. If my sargam is not clear, Saregamapada is not clear, if I don't know what's the emotional connection with the Shiv Ranjani or with the Malkons or with the Handol, I cannot express in a proper way through my practice over there. But anyway, so you just talk about one thing which I will ask to Professor Ji. Would you please respond to that in connection with the follow-up question? Number one, as I was reading the Guru Granth Sahib, and also while we are talking about, so in my assumption, please correct me if I'm wrong. So the idea was that Guru Nanak started pilgrimage to Mecca, and he was a partner with the partnership Bhai Mardana. And as we are all from various faith tradition, I'm trying to learning and helping my audience also to learn what actually a Sikh faith expresses, and to whom they pray, to whom they learn, to whom they connect. Like if we go to Judaism, there was a story in the Bible when God appeared to Moses in the burning bush, and he said to them, I'm sending you, go to the Pharaoh. And he said, okay, I will go to the Pharaoh, but he will ask me, who sent you? What is his name? And then Yahweh name came, and God said, this is my name, my eternal name, I will be so be. So go and tell the Pharaoh. That's the same thing. When Paul was in Athens and he saw various shrines and the statues in the Athens in the 1st century, and he went to the philosophers of the Athens, and he told them, I'm telling you in the name of the unknown God, which I saw, a one stone unknown God. So when we say read the Granth, and we say that it's a monotheistic faith, but if we compare with the Islam has a name, Allah, along with 99 names, Christians connect with the same monotheistic God through the Jesus Christ, and we say that he's the life, he's the way, he's the door who lead us. So when we say Sikhism, do we have any name to whom we pray? Who is this ultimate reality which Guru Nanak or the Shabd is pointing to?
Thank you. As earlier Sarbjit Singh said, if you don't see God in all, you don't see it at all, So if God doesn't have every name, if God is not everything, what is without God? What we're searching for is that we are lost. We need to connect, and that's what Guru Nanak Ji, very first formula after he introduced this Ik Onkar, the oneness, the concept of oneness, that Satnam, the universal truths, be in that. Don't be out of it. Don't let your fears, tell you other way. This life, the mind and soul, the conversation Sri Guru Granth Sahib is all about, that connection Guru Nanak is building or constructing this new composition. Now, the thing is, like, we need to understand his mechanism. Mechanism, as you earlier used word Shastriya Sangeet. That's contemporary word. That 1849, there is no word called Shastriya Sangeet or Indian music. It was either Desi or Margi. Margi is a fundamental, a very particularly executed component, a sound composition where rag is built. But what is rag? Rag is mood. Rag is that which colors you in its own existence of the color. But how is rag made? Then we go to swar, right? Swar is the sound. So this is how the yogis defined it. When you can feel your emotion through the sound, that's what nad is. And when you can express what you're feeling through the sound, when you become able, then that's what yoga is. Then you become capable to address. Nanak Ji is using that old system, Gram and Murchana. So what ancient program related to human psyche, the betterment of, like when you go to doctor, it doesn't say you're Muslim or you're Hindu, you have to go to Muslim doctor. Doctor shouldn't do that. And in the world of spirituality, in the house of Nanak Ji, this is what happened. This is, okay, what is your problem? As a human, not as a Muslim. I'm not talking about social problems. I'm not talking about your economical problems. These things, your body is a shadow of your mind. If you can win the heart of your mind, Guru Nanak says, you've got it, everything. So let me share with you how to be one with that, how to configure one's own life. So religions were there, beautiful religion, Islam, nothing wrong with it, nothing. Neither there is anything wrong with the Vedantic system, neither there was anything wrong with Buddhism. Yes, systems get corrupted. Nanak's problem is not Islam. He says, Bhai Gurdas says, Kaji hoye rishwati, vaddi leke hak gwahi. That's Nanak's problem. Problem is that when you manipulate innocent people, when you take the only wealth a farmer had was a cow, and Brahman steals that, as a donation. So Nanak challenges those fake men-made rituals. He not saying that you guys are doing it wrong, not at all. He's making people aware. How? He's connecting people to their emotional state, empowering their mental health, and saying, God is not lost. So within you, Kudrat karke vasya. So it's the everything, eternity is the creator. In one of the Guru Nanak's composition from Sandalbar, from your world, from where you're born, and that Sandalbar, that dialect, Guru Nanak's phenomenal composition. In that he says, Lakh agasa agas, lakh patala patal, Ork pal thake ved kahan ikvat. So he's saying in Veda, they sum it up. There's a word and another word and another word. It's just endless, hundreds and thousands. And the Kateb, which is Zabur, and other subscriptions from the Middle East, and the wisdoms put together, says they interpret it very similar way, that this universe is, there's no end to it. And Nanak Ji says, we know all of these. Why are we counting this? It's a time to celebrate. Hey, come on, it's okay. Whatever you believe in that, but believe without fear. Don't be afraid. So do you know how to love? So to love, to teach how to be in love. I think this is the most difficult thing, even in the present moment, how to make somebody love and fall in love in reality. So what Nanak Ji does, he introduced to humanity using ancient program of emotional agility. So Shruti, emotional signatures, but West calls it microtone, because there is angle. There are quantum physics people. We are string theory, Southeast Asia. It is like they see point A and B, we see what's in between. So therefore mean comes in. Da, da. But why? Why we can't just say, Why we have to say, Why can't we cry in Persian or Hebrew? Why can't we laugh in Urdu? Languages don't serve that purpose. So Nanak Ji used this sound current and this phenomenal program, how to express 5 codes in Japji. The first code was natural discipline. Be just natural. Hukam, Kartaburuk, the creator, how God created you, be in that. Do not fight against that force. You're gonna lose. There's no victory against creator. You wanna be one, just embrace the idea. The second was expression. Then being in that situation, how you express, words not going to do anything. You have to go emotionally. So this interpretation, Dr. Eric, the musicology interpretation, in 1849, not just changed for Sikhs, not just changed for Islamic centers of education in East Asia, Southeast Asia, also for the Christian faith. It also changed where, I must share this with you, where from Poland to Czech Republic, the harmonium was forbidden, banned. Church refused this. This is instrument against the organ, the tradition of the church, because what they wanted to do with it and what the sound was there, so they refused it. So where did the company throw it? Into our hands. And where did we lose that connection, the divine connection to ourselves? If I'm afraid, then there's only little place in the cup. Either there's a fear, either there's a love, according to Nanak Ji. If we want to be in love with our God, if that's what we say to our God, I love you, then we need to be emotionally sound. And that's what the education he gives us. Rather than giving, he says, Ram, Ram, Bol Ram, Ram, or Guru says, Sabah kat Ram bole, or Guru talks about Khuda, Guru talks about Kete, Siddh, Buddha, Nath, Kete, everything. For Guru Nanak, there is nothing which exists or can exist, which is not God. And don't slice it into evil or good. It's just God, and just enjoy just to be in it.
Well, thank you very much for this profound answer. So now we are closing our conversation. So this is the second last question, and I will ask Cordy to would you respond to that? So as a student and now as a part of the team honing and promoting the tradition, what do you think? What may have lost along the way, and what you are going to achieve through your efforts and through this Raj Academy?
I think many things have been lost. Many things have already been achieved. And if we hadn't have lost things, there would be no work for us to do now. So it's part of the balance of how we contribute. And one of the key things that was lost was that connection with our emotions. For me, Sikh music and Gurmat Sangeet was a pathway to our emotional wellness. It was for our mental health. I see it as a tool for empowering all humans with that same strength. And if we look around us, mental health is a growing epidemic globally. People are becoming more and more disconnected with themselves and with the language to express their emotions. So having access to something that empowers you in that exact space is, for me, a gift to be able to have understood and learnt that, to be able to practice it and to share it. So I think that human connection is something that's been lost along the way. And the work that we're doing at Raj Academy is catering to all communities. So we have bases in the US and in the UK. Because of COVID, we are currently situated in the UK, but we have our extensions out in the US. You're seeing on the screen, Sarbjeet Singh, Ikjot Singh, they are phenomenal contributors to the community and the family that makes Raj Academy. We've got many more great, talented people just like them placed across the whole world who in their own little areas are contributing to that revival. And it begins in the home when one person picks up an instrument and makes that commitment. That's what makes a movement. And it's one by one we come together. And when I started to learn with Professor Surinder Singh, it wasn't international. We were just in the UK. We were a few people that would go to the classes at the university, and we were committed to being there. I think it was 4 or 5 times in a week. Everybody was there. And then there were events on the weekend. And slowly, slowly it grew from a small hub in London to now a global movement. And the advantages of technology allow us to make this education and this training available for people within their homes. And as Ikjot Singh introduced to you, the beautiful Dilruba, it is a phenomenal instrument to be able to connect with your emotions. And it's the best place to start if you're looking to make that connection. It's very, very easy to play and to pick up, and you don't need a musical background, which is one of the things I love about how we teach in Raj Academy. Most music schools have a prerequisite. You need to be able to understand music or musical language or have some sort of a background. We don't have that prerequisite. If you want to connect with your emotions and the humanity within you, you don't need a musical background. You just need the willpower to make a commitment. And we don't need you to commit hours and hours of a day. We've developed an incredible program which works. We've been running it for the past more than 10 years, which requires you to make a daily commitment of 15 minutes. If you can take out 15 minutes of your day and you can follow the program, then we can support you to produce results within 16 weeks, to play a composition on the Dilruba. And that's not something that most music schools can offer you because they come from a different philosophy and a different school of thought and a different angle to teaching in itself. So I was one of those students at the beginning of my journey who wasn't gifted naturally with music, but I was fortunate enough to have come to the right place where I wasn't turned away, but I was welcomed in. And with that regular commitment, 15 minutes, and showing up every day in that process, I'm now sitting here with you as somebody who practices this music and teaches it. So it is possible. I'm evidence of that. And it takes away a lot of the stigma around learning music. And that's how I hope the future becomes, where music isn't something that is just for the elite, but is something that we as humans, every single regular human being, can use as a way to access emotional wellness. That's what we're trying to encourage and support at Raj Academy.
Well, thank you very much. And I hope that this will cross not only from UK to USA, but also go back to India and also in Pakistan as well. And we would love to have a partnership with you and the Raj Academy to introduce these courses through the Raj Academy in Pakistan as well, with the partnership of the Halim School of Church Music and Worship. So that's a shared heritage which we could contribute and go forward. So let's go to the last question, and then we will wind up with the performance, or with the sharing. I can't say that a performance, but with the sharing of the Professor Saab with his instrument. But the question is, because recently this whole program is a result of a short evening of interfaith connection, where Sarbjeet Singh came, and the second time when LA Time was covering our story, Ikjot and Bandagi came, and we talk about it, and then that's how expand. And I think it's all divine connection. It's beyond you. It's bigger than you, because you cannot orchestrate these things by yourself. You cannot design these kind of things. It's all divinely orchestrated. So my question is, as we have learned through this conversation that Guru Nanak partnered with Bhai Mardana, was a Muslim in that context, and the Bhakti movement and the Sufi movement emerged together to go all the way, and for the sake of the love, peace, and harmony in the society. And I was listening another story where I think when the Golden Temple, which we called, when it was I think built by the sixth Guru, I think Guru Gobind Singh Ji, fifth. What was his name?
Guru Arjan Dev Ji.
Guru Arjan Dev Ji, yes. And I think when that temple inaugurated, I think again he invited another Muslim Sufi. What was his name? I forgot the name.
Sai Mia Mir.
Sai Mia Mir. Here you go. Yes. His tomb is also in Lahore, somewhere in Pakistan. So that's what the combination, and that was the interfaith relationship. That's where I connect with the book of Zabur, Punjabi Zabur, which was published in Pakistan 1908 and 6. That was also a collaborative combination, because the Muslim convert poet Padri Imamdin Shahbaz, so he translated into lyrical poetry, and Radha Kishan, I don't know he was Sikh or he was a Hindu, but he composed all the traditional Punjabi Zabur into Indian musicology. So that was also a result, a product of an interfaith harmony. So my question to my all panelists, you can respond in a one phrase, is what role Kirtan can play in the promotion of interfaith harmony in the 21st century? What you see, what you envision based on the tradition of the Sikh faith, and how we can contribute in the 21st century as a collaborative partners for the interfaith harmony. So I will go on the reverse. So and the last, because Professor Ji, you can respond in the last, because then you will play and we will wind up. So Ikjot, then Sarbajit Singh Ji, then Kaur Ji, and then Professor Ji. Ji, Ikjot, what do you think?
So the question was how Sikh faith plays a role in the interfaith harmony?
Kirtan music.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I feel like whatever we've discussed today, talking about Kirtan and Sikh music, like everyone has said, Kirtan is or music in general is a universal language. So just sharing our different beliefs and spiritualness, and collabing with everyone, and then just feeling it through emotions would be the best way.
Thank you. Sarbajit Singh Ji.
Haji, like you had previously asked a question, what name Guru Nanak used to call God upon? He has written in his Shabad, Koi bole Ram Ram, Koi Khudaye, Koi seve Gusaiya, Koi alai, Karan Karan Kareem, Kirpa Tar Rahim, कोई नावे तीरथ, कोई हज जाए, कोई करे पूजा, कोई सीस नवाए, कोई कहे तुर्क, कोई कहे हिंदू, कोई पाछे पिश्त, कोई सूर गिंदू. So he said, कहो नानक जिन हुक्म पछाता, प्रभ साहिब का तिन भेद जाता. Those who understand the cosmic law, the hukam, as Professor Ji just mentioned, they realize the presence of God. So Guru Nanak had no name. He says, नानक सिर लोकां पाम है, बलिहारे जाऊं जेते तेरे नाम है. I sacrifice to all the names, oh Lord. Anybody calls you by any names in any language, I bow my head to their feet. Whoever remembers you by any name. Actually, God has no names, right? And all these names are by Kirtan Nam. Let's say if I came to your church, and there was a guy who was playing a guitar. I don't know his name, so I will call him, he's a guitarist. If I didn't know your name, I'll say he's a rabbi or a reverend. Or if I see somebody cooking food there, I say that person is a chef. So chef is not that person's name. So similar way, all the names given to the Lord is given by whatever way somebody saw his virtues. ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਰੱਬ ਹੈਗਾ ਰਮਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਆ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਰਾਮ ਕਹਿ ਦਿੱਤਾ. ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਜੀ he is the creator of the creation. Go means the creation, Bind means the creator, the one who create the creation, that means Gobind. The one who go ਧਰਤੀ ਦੀ ਪਾਲਣਾ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਗੋਬਿੰਦ. ਸੋ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਗੁਣ ਦੇਖੇ, ਉਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਮ ਪੈਂਦੇ ਗਏ. ਪਰ ਰੱਬ ਦਾ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਕੋਈ ਨਾਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ. ਕੀਰਤਨ ਨਾਮ ਕਥੇ ਤੇਰੇ ਜੇਬਾ. ਉਹਦੇ whatever virtues were seen, that's how they call him. So ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਪਰ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦਾ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਇੱਕੋ ਹੀ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ There's nothing before one. Everything originated from one. Oankar. And then Bhagat Kabir also says ki Aval Allah Noor Upaya Kudrat ke sab bande ek noor te sab jag upajya kaun pale ko mangde. Though people speak different language, though people eat different food, different dresses, but the language of love is same, and the language of music is the same. ਸੱਤ ਸੁਰਾਂ ਹੀ ਆ, ਭਾਵੇਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਚਲ ਜਾਓ, ਕਿਸੇ ਕਲਚਰ 'ਚ ਚਲੇ ਜਾਓ, ਕਿਸੇ ਨੈਸ਼ਨੈਲਿਟੀ 'ਚ ਚਲੇ ਜਾਓ, ਸੁਰਾਂ ਤੇ ਸੱਤ ਹੀ ਹੈ, ਤੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਇਹਦਾ ਜ਼ਿਕਰ ਵੀ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਭਲੋ ਭਲੋ ਰੇ ਕੀਰਤਨੀਆਂ ਰਾਮ ਰਮਾ ਰਾਮਾ ਗੁਣ ਗਾਓ ਪਰ ਛੋੜ ਮਾਇਆ ਕੇ ਤੰਦ ਸਵਾਓ, don't abuse the music, ਇਸ ਮਿਊਜ਼ਿਕ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰੱਬ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੋ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਹ ਇੱਕ ਮਿਊਜ਼ਿਕ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਇੱਕ ਕੋਠੇ ਤੇ ਚਲਾ ਗਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ, ਇੱਕ ਮੁਜ਼ਰੇ ਹੋਣ ਲੱਗ ਪਏ ਸੀਗੇ, ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਇਸੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਸਲਾਮ ਨੇ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਹਰਾਮ ਕਹਿ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਆ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਹਦੀ ਵਰਤੋਂ ਦੁਰਵਰਤੋਂ ਹੋਣ ਲੱਗ ਪਈ ਸੀਗੀ। ਪਰ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ, ਮਿਊਜ਼ਿਕ ਮਾੜਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਇਹਦੀ ਵਰਤੋਂ ਮਾੜਾ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ, ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਮੌਸੀਕੀ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ ਰੱਬ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ।
So ji, thank you very much. Ji Kaurji, what do you think about what role Kirtan can play in interfaith relationship?
I think that it is the way for us to connect. As we've all said in different ways, music is that universal language. It's the thing that connects our hearts. You can visit any country in the world, not understand the language or the ways of that land, but you can still appreciate the music. You can share joy through that emotional expression that sound has. So for me, it's a very powerful tool to connect people. It's how I use it in the spaces that I interact and I present in. And I feel that it is the way for us to actually make that connection with our own selves, understand our emotions, and through understanding our own emotions, it allows us to listen compassionately to one another and understand each other better. So to build those bridges across communities, it's the tool that Guru Nanak used to build interfaith dialogue. And I feel that's the same way that we should be using it too.
Fascinating. So I would go to ask to brother Professor Surinder Singh ji, what's your response? And then would you please convey and communicate that sound through the instrument which you're holding now?
I think, Eric, to the emotional agility, what music can provide. So we can rule people by creating emotional deafness. This is what happens now. Somebody's stressed at home, somebody is sacked from a job, and he goes home, picks up a gun, he just kills the innocent people. It's just because there's nothing out there available for humans to understand what's happening inside. The Guru Nanak's program was that, and music does this. But I'm a strong believer that music is not a healer. I'm a believer. Music is not a healer, because of music there are problems. There's a drug, and there is all sort of things are happening. It is actually sound which makes music. If we start the proper use of it, which Sarabjit Singh said, Guru Nanak Ji introduced to that ancient program of a program which was dedicated to humanity, and providing them with emotional agility through sound. That's like a comprehensive program. So I think he proved it. 239 years from Guru Nanak to Guru Gobind Singh Ji. They proved it time after time, that alliance of humanity is much bigger than alliance by religions. They can get together and they can fall apart. It's something like the society always does. But humanity, to build the alliance of humanity, and how do we build how can we build that? Is through emotional agility, through sound. So if I'm crying outside of your door because of the accident, and something is broken, and I'm just screaming out there, you're not gonna come out and say, hey, I don't understand you because you're not crying in Hebrew. That's the only language I understand. It doesn't work. So the language which connects us, that sound, sheer sound, which doesn't need any lingual interpretation. Nanak Ji is talking about that. That's why we also say that Gurumukhi, the Punjabi we speak in Punjabi, in both sides of the Punjab, in real ancient Punjab. Punjabi is thousands and thousands year old language, but Guru Nanak used a word called Gurumukhi, that from the sound of from the mouth of the teacher, which is beyond languages, the experience. And I think through this music, I would like to share this little piece, although I'm not in the posture here because of where the set is. This is instrument called saranda. In Pakistan, also near Afghanistan border, Balochistan area, we also know this as a siranda, S-I-R-A-N-D-A. That's a different instrument. And when you go into Iran, you will see gechak. It is like 2000 BC. They said it's a very old instrument. But this is a different instrument. Was altered by or created by in this shape by Guru Arjan Sahib, fifth master Guru Arjan Sahib, which you talked about regarding Darbar Sahib. The reason was the emotional agility, what the string can do. Behind you is a harmonium, right? Yeah. Which I see just a little bit on the side. When you press a key, da, da, it's going to produce 12 sounds in one octave.
Yeah.
But we don't have that. In Eastern philosophy, there's a 22 emotions. Your sa is never going to be only B or only C sharp, only a D. No, it's not fixed, but we're on the other side of the sound when we're talking about quantum physics, it's fixed. So to understand the Eastern philosophy, we need to understand the sound current too. So for example, when we are listening to something like this, I don't know, the microphone can convey to you what's happening after, or in the surround of just this sound. Now, if I'm approaching, for us in the seminary of sound, in the Sikhs, amongst the Sikh, we seek the color of the rag and this interpretation that how does it, what's in it for me? That's what we seek. It's a 7 notes, as Sarabjit Singh said. It's only 22 alphabets. See, we can write stories and poems and manuscripts only with the 22, 26. And we have 22 emotional signatures. Dr. Eric, you're a student of the sound, you know the shrutis. But once you understand the gram and it's a mushna, it's a code that in which rag, what is emotional property and how I'm going to punctuate it. The dialogue and the leverage and capacity it gives me. And before I say thank you to all of you for this opportunity, Sarabjit Singh and Dr. Eric, especially for making this happen. I just very quickly want to address something being left unaddressed. Sex is not about Paro or Sridhar. That is Vedantic system. In Shiv Panth, there is like a Vedantic system. They say, well, our rag is Siri rag. We started from Siri rag. Sufi says, no, we start from Tilang. Sadhu says, no, we are Pero. And some of in Sadhu say, no, from Kannada. Nanak didn't start from either of these traditions. You went to the very last chapter. And I think the students of the music and tradition and sound should go to the very first chapter. Nanak starts from Asa. Yeah, Rag Asa is where the courage to take that first step is endorsed and introduced. And the 60 chapter it goes, and the last for me is a test paper. It's just that a paper, and what do you know, dear? This is check, check, check. This is a multiple choice question. Are you still in a musical mode, or are you still in a Vedantic concept of counting and the numbers and illusions, or you found your reality? So when we see the Ragmalas, we need to also see that what is the context in which concept has been placed there. Dr. Eric, there are 60 rags in Sri Guru Granth Sahib. Out of those 60, 32 are not mentioned anywhere on planet Earth, except there. We don't believe the times of the rag, that this is from this family to that family to that family, because the Guru said rag means this is individual mood. Your son, your daughter, maybe is a part of your family, but they have their independent personality. If I want to have a business with your son, then I need to know and understand that person, right? I cannot go in a hindsight, or this is how Dr. Eric is. This is definitely how his son is going to be. Some similarity, but it's a different personality. So same thing with the rag. So bringing us of that manipulative theory, which was this time you sing this, this is this margi structure. No. This is for puja and you have to do this particular ritual to do this. None of that. Nanak Ji brought that out. Mardana, Baba Mardana will play Rabab and Nanak Ji will put his voice on it and it'll just strike the heart of humanity. Beyond language. It was not about Persian, Braj. Nanak Ji mixed everything together. It was a phenomenal, multi-linguistics these people were. Very well traveled, very well educated. But when they put the program for us to use, it was very free program. It was emotionally led, sound-based program. And I personally believe if the music, if this sound becomes the center stage for humanity, the humans will end up with such a sound life, beautiful life.
Well, thank you very much. This is a fascinating message. And today we just touched the surface. That this conversation was just touching the surface. We need more program, more conversation to have a better understanding, to know what is Khalsa, what is Kirtan music, what is Ragdaris, what are the musicology, what are the Guru Shiksha, and what is the core philosophy, and how they are contributing and in the humanity in our generation. So it's an ongoing relationship, and I believe and trust that this is not our last conversation. We will execute more, and you will see more things are coming with the collaboration mode. But what we have learned today is that through music, through Kirtan, through sound, we can not only connect with each other, but we can communicate the divine message to the world. So the Kirtan, the music connect not only emotional, embedded in the human core from heart to heart, but also it connect hearts to heaven. And that's where the message and the purpose of the Kirtan music and the sound which God has given. And on that note, I'm just sharing with you, the book of Genesis says when God utter a word. And C.S. Lewis in his book, The Magician Nephew, he says that actually God sang the creation song. God was singing and dancing, and he was just uttering these words, and creation coming out while he was uttering, while he was chanting, while he was singing. So that's the poetry which God has given us, to all of us, and especially Punjabi music and the Punjabi Kirtan. As those who are from that region, we know that this is our heart music. This is who we are. This is what speaks to our core. This is what reflect our identity. And through that conversation, through that collaboration, I would like to my gratitude to Brother Sarbajit Singh ji and to Ikjot from California for connecting and arranging all this connection, to Kaurji from all the way from England, out of home. She's somewhere out of there. And then Professor Surinder Singh ji for your valuable comment, insight, and wisdom. We are so blessed this afternoon, and I hope those who are listening, you will be blessed, and we will hope to present you more programs and more collaborative, not only music, but also academics and the research work on this musicology. So stay